Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to reduce the size of the Docker image and you're going to see how easy it is. It's not something complex to do. It's very easy actually, and I'm going to do it in 3 major steps. The first one will involve having multi-stage Docker builds. Okay. For our case, shall have 2 stages to keep it simple. After that, I will write a git ignore, not a git ignore, but a docker ignore file can help with that. And also I'm going to ignore dev dependencies because they're dependencies which can only help us in development, but we don't need them in production. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to do that today. So let's start. I always like looking at certain few things at my screens to make sure that yeah, the audio and everything is okay. Live streams are always tricky. Once you mess up audio, it might be hard for you to recover. But anyway, let me start. So if you look at this Docker file, right now it has only one stage. Okay. How do you know it has one stage? In Docker, when you want to have more than one stage, okay, or one phase or a build phase, you use these from statements, okay? So because of this from statement, we have only one stage, okay? One build stage in this Docker file. But if I put another from statement down here, okay? I say from, okay? This Docker file now has 2 stages. The first one from line 1 to line 15, and the second one from line 17. Let me make this bigger, okay? What I'm going to show you today is going to significantly improve the size of the Docker image, and you are going to see it. Okay, so that's how you identify stages in a Docker file. This from keyword, okay, defines a stage. Initially, we only had one stage, but now we have 2 because of this second keyword. Why would we need 2 stages? Okay, first of all, look at line 4 in this Docker file. If you look at line 4, we have UV being installed. Okay, UV is not important for the production environment. That is something we can agree on. You don't need UV in production. Okay, we are actually only using UV in development. Okay, and also at some point we needed to install dependencies. It has no use at runtime. Okay, so I am going to divide this Docker file into 2 stages. One stage, I'll call it a build phase, okay, where we build and install dependencies. After we have installed dependencies, we don't need UV anymore, okay? We only need those installed dependencies. So by eliminating UV, we shall have a smaller Docker image. And by the way, when you do a second stage, like I told you using the from keyword, okay, you say from, everything, okay, in this previous stage is ignored, okay. The final image only has what you have from this second stage. As simple as that. So I am going to write this, and I bet the UV is big. I think it was around maybe 45 MB. I'm not sure if I remember that correctly, okay? But we are going to write our Docker file afresh by just changing a few things so that we eliminate UV from the runtime. Okay, so if you have any question, please go ahead and ask in the chat. Okay, I'll be looking at the chat from time to time to make sure I do not miss out on any question. Okay, so a single standard file like this, okay, a single stage file like what you're seeing right now includes everything. Okay, build tools, dev dependencies, test frameworks, and all these end up in the final image, which makes it bloated, okay, and can be a security risk, because the more packages you have, the larger attack surface you have, okay, and also a larger image means you have slower deploys because it takes longer to push and pull. So a multi-stage, like I've told you, will fix this by letting us use multiple from statements, okay, each starting a clean stage, okay, and at one stage you can cherry pick a few files from a previous stage so that you have a minimal result. All right, so let's write it out. The first thing I'll do on the first line, okay, I'll say, maybe I can just put a few comments so that as you're revising, you can know. So this is the first stage, okay? In fact, no need for that. So this is the first stage. And this first stage, I'm going to give it a name. I'll say as builder, okay? You'll see most DevOps guys calling it builder because it's essentially the building stage, okay? Usually you first do building. So after building, okay, we shall have UV. But of course, UV is only going to exist in this stage. Now, after having UV, we can now, I'm not going to copy everything, okay? Copying everything, because you see this period, says copy everything from the current working directory to the app, okay, directory. I'm not going to do that, okay? That is bad, because there are files, if you've discovered this project, every time you create a code change at some point, it can trigger dependencies to be reinstalled. I don't want that to happen, okay? I want the following files to be cached. Where they? The pyproject.tomo, okay, and the uv.log. So to do that, I'll remove this, okay, and first of all, create the current working directory, okay. So this is the working directory. It will be /app/backend. I want to change it. Then after that, you see what AI is suggesting. I won't follow that, okay. What I'll do is to first of all copy the pyproject.tomo, okay, pyproject.tomo and uv.log to the current working directory. How do I know this current working directory? Because of line 6. So line 6 says create a directory called backend inside a directory called app. So app is created first, then backend is created inside app, okay, and it will navigate for us inside the backend directory, whereby we shall copy the pyproject.tomo and the uv.log. This is important because Docker does catching at several layers, okay? So if it can catch for us this, when we make a code change, okay, we won't need to reinstall our dependencies, which means as long as these files don't change, okay, there'll be no need for us to have a UV sync, okay? So this, if this changes, then we shall have a UV sync. Then after that, another thing I want to do, another improvement I want to do, like I told you, there are 3 things we're going to do, and one of them is going to be excluding dev dependencies. So to exclude dev dependencies, okay, I'll put here and say --no dev, okay. By doing this, UV will ignore dev dependencies. If I go to the UV project.tomo, okay, you see we have dependencies and dev dependencies. We don't need things like PyTest mock. We don't need them, okay, in production. These are only for development and maybe for our CI/CD pipeline. So all these, remember, have a size in memory. They take space. And maybe before that, let me show you the current size of the Docker image, okay? So I'll say Docker images, then I'll pipe and say grep to filter. So grep is a tool for filtering. Let me expand this so that you can see. So grep, and I say fast API. Okay, maybe reduce the size a little bit. Okay, so I see the current size. It is 406 MB. Okay, that is just one. Okay, that's big by the what we have. It's really big. So we're going to reduce its size. And yeah, wait for the end to see how small it's going to reduce. So I'll zoom out a little bit and continue writing the code. So by doing this, we have our dev dependencies ignored. Okay, they will not be in our production or in our final image. We don't need them. Then this third layer, like I told you, will be cached. So when it caches this and we make changes to files like main.py, okay, this should not trigger a reinstallation, okay, of dependencies. But if you don't copy these, okay, and have what we had previously, because previously we were copying everything from the current working directory into the container. That means if I come to main.py and I change anything like from message with 2s and I remove 1s, okay, it will mean everything has to be rebuilt, okay, including installing dependencies by this command at line 10. But when you copy only this, okay, and you change your application code only in the .py file or in the Python files, then UV does not reinstall your dependencies. That is very good. All right. So after we have this line, after we have this line 8, okay, giving us the caching layer, next up we can now have everything else now being copied. So we can now copy everything. Say copy from the current working directory on the host, copy everything into the current working directory on the container. Okay. And where is that location on the container? In app/backend. Do you see how easy it is? Guys, if you have a question, don't hesitate to ask me. Okay. So I hope you've seen the improvements so far. Okay. It should make sense to you about the improvements done so far. Okay. I don't know what's happening. Let me reduce this. Please let me know if you can see the screen clearly. Okay. So we have done a number of improvements. Number one, we have caching. Okay. Next up, we have now everything else being copied. So this is stage one, okay, called builder. Now I'm going to have another stage, which is stage 2. Okay. So in stage 2 is where we're going to actually run the application. Actually, let me comment this. Putting comments is best actually. I'll come here, put a comment, say dash 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 stage 1. Okay. We're responsible for building. Okay. Then say dash 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 like that. And I can copy it and go here after copy. So you see in stage 1, we did the installation of dependencies, okay, and running. So we go here, stage 2, escape stage 2, and then say this is going to be the runtime. Okay, as simple as that. I had AI trying to go ahead of me. So in stage 2, like I told you, to go to a second stage, you have this from statement. Okay, you say from, and this is going to give us a fresh base image. So everything before, okay, is discarded, is forgotten about, okay, unless you explicitly specify that you need something from stage 1. Okay, so I'll say from Python, this same Python image, okay. So from an image of Python, okay, whose tag is 3.12-slim, okay, and this stage I'll call it runtime, okay, as runtime. Okay, so you see we have now 2 stages. We have the build stage and we have the runtime stage. Again, do not forget the size of our image so far is 406 MB. Look at that. Okay, keep it in mind. So after this, I now go to the next line and create a working directory. Okay, so it will be the same. So working directory will be /app in lowercase, okay, /backend. As simple as that. Okay, sorry, I have to remove this. Okay, so we have our working directory created for us, and then it will do a cd into this backend directory for us. After that, we now copy only what we need from the builder stage, from the first stage. Okay, we only copy only what we need. Okay, we can copy only for example, this directory. We can copy only this backend directory. Okay, only the app and the virtual environment which was created. So I'll come here. Okay, and I say copy. Okay, so to copy from a stage, you say minus minus from. Okay, then you say equal sign, then you mention the name of the stage, which is builder. So I'll say equals to builder, like that. So it means we want to copy from this previous stage, which is the builder stage. So after we copy from the builder stage, what do we want to copy from the builder stage? We want to copy the /app/backend. Okay, we want to copy this, okay, into our current one here. Okay, so into /app/backend. Okay, they just happen to be named the same way. That the first stage has app/backend and second stage has app/backend. Okay, but they are still different. Okay, do not forget that, friends. Very, very important. Okay, so let's now carry on. After that, the next thing I want to do is to actually, I think we're done. We can now run the application. Okay, say app backend. Okay, the command that we had before for running the backend. So that is it. Okay, so with this we have achieved a multi-stage build, but there's something even better that we can do. Okay, something better that we can do is to create a dockerignore file, because there are files we don't need to send to Docker, okay, to build. We tell Docker ignore these files. So let us do that. Okay, I'll just go to right here and create a docker ignore. Yeah, I think that's the correct spelling. Then here I can have a number of things to ignore. Okay, for example, I don't want the virtual environment to be copied to it. Okay, because you see this line of code that we have here. Okay, you run sync, it will create a virtual environment in the container if it's not there. So you don't need to copy what we have on our machine, because what we have on our machine has Mac binaries, but we want Linux binaries because our container will be a Linux machine. So, okay, you see it is suggesting a number of things. So I'll say virtual environment, okay. We don't need the .git directory. We don't need the .env.example, okay. So let me see. Let us see the things that you can ignore. I think this rough, this code of logs, pytest catch, rough catch, .vs code, all those we don't need them. So I'll say .rough catch, .pytest catch. We don't need it. Even the pre-commit. Pre-commit is a tool we only use in development. We don't need it in production. Logs, we don't need logs. Okay. Even the pycatch, we don't need pycatch. Even the tests, we don't need a test folder. Okay. Even things like the readme.md. Okay. So I'm just giving an example of what you can ignore. Okay. You can reduce on KBs and MBs. Okay. And this is very, very important. Actually, this file works like exactly like a git ignore. Okay. It filters what the copy command, okay, can see. And files listed in this git ignore never enter the Docker build context at all. Okay, that's a very, very important thing to have. So with that, I can now move on to, of course, if there's anything missing, feel free to add it. I can now attempt to build the image. Okay, so let me do this. Clear my screen. Why is it opening up the AI agent? Okay, expand, then say docker compose build fast API. Okay, dash app. I've been doing this before. I expect it to be faster. Okay, for you to make takes, it's a bit slow time. Okay, but yeah, so you see, yeah, certain things had been what cached. Okay, but it has been built. So let us now check the size. Okay, I'll clear and say docker images. When you do docker images, it will list for you the images, okay, that you have. But I will filter out using grep and say we're looking for only fast API. Okay, we're looking for images whose name contains fast API. If I hit enter, you see we have, say 36 seconds ago, 245 MB. Are you seeing how good what we have done? Okay, multi-stage Docker builds, eliminating dev dependencies using a Docker file. Okay, this is a very good DevOps practice. Okay, they can ask you, how can you have a small image? Okay, so this is from 400 MB. Okay, I think it was 406. So we can actually do the math. Okay, let me do this. If I clear my screen and I say Python, or is it Python 3? Okay, so I want to calculate. We had 245. So 245 divided by 400, was it 406? Probably. Okay, multiplied by 100. Okay, are you seeing 60% reduction in the size? This is how powerful multi-stage Docker builds are and how you can improve your image. Okay, so if any of you has a better way of doing this, please leave it in the comment section. Like always, this is knowledge. Share it with people in your network, and see you in the next video or live stream. Bye for now.